Good afternoon, or good morning, good evening, depending on where this finds you online, and a warm welcome to all. So before we start, I should note that this event is being live streamed and recorded, and the recording will be made available in the coming days. So again, good afternoon to those in the room in Geneva. My name is Sonia Drobiz, and I'm a senior researcher consultant with UNIDIR's Weapons of Mass Destruction program. I'm very pleased to be moderating this event today to launch a new advanced BWC education program, namely BWC Edu. This program is designed for government officials and experts from across different disciplines working on issues related to the BWC. It has been developed and is being implemented jointly by UNIDIR, the DIPLO Foundation, and the Foundation for Strategic Research. This program is made possible thanks to the generous support of the United Kingdom, and we are very pleased to be launching it today. So I would like to briefly introduce my co-panelists and fellow course lecturers who will be presenting the program in a few minutes. So again, I am Sonia Drobiz, Senior Researcher Consultant with UNIDIR. My background is in public international law. I have legal expertise on international and national legal frameworks for CBRN non-proliferation and security, and more than 10 years experience working on BWC implementation. I am joined today and for the course by my colleague, Dr. Maria Espona, who is an expert in the weapons of mass destruction field, especially on chemical and biological weapons and export control. She held various positions with, amongst others, the EU Partner-to-Partner Export Control Program and the WHO. She is a biologist and holds a PhD in criminology. I am also joined by Dr. Jean-Pascal Zanders, who is an independent researcher and consultant with expertise in chemical and biological armament and disarmament. He participates as an external advisor to the EU delegations in the BWC and CWC meetings and held various positions with research institutes. He holds a PhD in political science. I am also very pleased to be joined by Lucio Gordzinski, who is a senior fellow for science and technology diplomacy with the DIPLO Foundation. Since 2020, he has facilitated negotiations on science and technology within the framework of the BWC, both as a friend of several chairs and as a facilitator during the 9th Review Conference. He also chaired the BWC meeting of state parties in 2018. We are also joined today by Maria Garzon Maceda, who is project coordinator for the Weapons of Mass Destruction program at UNIDIR, where she coordinates the Biological Weapons Convention National Implementation Database project, conducts research and analysis on CBW issues, and supports the design and implementation of the program strategies and projects. We also include as part of the team for this course Dr. Elison Nexon, who unfortunately is not able to join us today, but she forms part of the team. She is a senior research fellow at the Foundation for Strategic Research. Her expertise focuses on public health issues related to defense and security, as well as prevention, preparation, and response to biological and chemical threats. Over the course of the program, we hope to be joined by a diverse range of experts from around the globe who will feed in the expertise from across different disciplines and augment the taught content. So again, we're very pleased to welcome you today to present the program. And without further ado, I would now like to give the floor to Jean-Pascal to present this new BWC education program. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sonia, for the introduction, and thank you all for coming. What I will do in my presentation is give you a quick overview of the objectives of the various modules and also the types of topics that will be addressed here. So in terms of the course overview, The first aspect is to give you a little briefing about the purpose of it. And the most important purpose is actually to equip people, government officials, young diplomats, but also members of the scientific community who may later become appointed to the S&T review mechanisms, to have the relevant knowledge, the skills and the expertise about the process that we are having here. So the modules, as you will see later, they actually follow the various topics on the agenda of the working group meetings we are having right now. And obviously, we also want to prepare the people for the forthcoming review conference and afterwards. What I'm saying here actually hints that this may become, if successful this time, it may become an annually recurring event. So also what we have in mind is to have a focus on the global south, where there is a far greater need for certain types of capacities for those state parties to be actively involved in the discussions that are going on. So the key stakeholders that we are targeting through the course, I've briefly touched upon, but they're basically the government officials in capital with a responsibility in the BWC implementation, or perhaps more generally with a CBRN expertise. Also, we are looking at aspiring and active diplomats, and as I've said, life scientists working on BWC issues and biological threats. Then, in terms of the course segments, as you will see in the next slide, there is going to be an introductory so-called passive module. So when people get registered, when they have been accepted for the course, they will get access to that module, and at their own pace, they can actually familiarize themselves with the basics of the BWC, the diplomatic process surrounding the BWC, and some of the future issues that they will be confronted with. Then next will be a series of online modules. Online modules are going to be interactive in a variety of ways. Again, the focus is very much on self-learning. However, the module leads, they will be in touch on a daily basis almost, but they have work to do. So people who apply to participate in the course and who get accepted, they will have to have a formal commitment that they are willing to devote, say, 10 to 15 hours per week on these modules, on each module. Then finally, we have also independent research work that the participants will have to execute. That segment will take place during the winter break, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, the winter break. But they will have to write a paper, and a paper that takes on the format of, say, a working paper by a state party or a national position. But basically, they have to tackle an issue, present the elements, and then the final segment, when everybody comes together physically in Geneva for a whole week, then there will be time devoted so that all the course participants will be able to present their paper, and they will have to try to persuade their fellow colleagues of their positions to see whether they can accept it. So there will be a simulation of diplomatic activity, so forth. Also, when in Geneva, they're going to visit some of the relevant institutions here. There will be a simulation exercise in SNT, and many discussions also with experts we're going to invite here. The basic parameters for the course, the number of participants is a maximum of 25. We'll have equitable regional distribution and gender balance, and also to bear in mind the duration of the whole course, it's not continuous obviously, is over 5 months. So the course will be running from October until February of 2025. Yes. So here you have the overview of the various teaching modules. I've already mentioned module 0, the static module that course participants can look at while preparing for the module. The first one discusses more specifically the diplomatic process and the landscape of the BWC, moving on to national implementation and biosecurity governance. One will address compliance and verification, including the confidence building measures. There will also be focus on international cooperation and assistance. Then what you are discussing right today, assistance, response and preparedness. And then science and technology, the developments and the mechanisms. So each module is 1 week of, let's say, intensive activity. Course participants will get assignments to do during that week. Then it's followed by, let's say, a second slower week where there's going to be a webinar on the topic, and experts will be invited, so the course participants can then discuss the issues they've learned the previous week with experts and so on. And on the Friday there will be a wrap-up, synchronous meeting where we summarize the issues, and students, course participants can ask final questions, clarifications, and so forth. The final module is obviously the intensive 1 week here in Geneva, all costs covered for the participants, and this will bring everything together. They will be face-to-face, and the emphasis will be on interaction between the course participants. Very quickly, I don't know how big this is on the screen, but the slide will be available in an enhanced format in PDF version. But basically what I wanted to show to you is basically at the bottom, the course participants start with elementary knowledge about the BTWC, and then we will be providing them with materials. They will be encouraged to conduct their own research. Well, they will have to do that if only for that assignment. And then in the various modules, through different techniques, we're going to create interaction both with the module lead and among themselves, because students will have to comment on each other's work during the week too. So in a certain way, that builds up to capacity, knowledge, and understanding of what the processes are. If we go to the right part of the slide, and that element at the bottom, I'm going to show you in a larger format, but basically it is how the interaction evolves during the course. And again, it's to enable the course participants to be independent in the development of the ideas, presenting ideas, and then have the ability to interact with each other. So at the top, the ultimate achievement that we want to have is that they are able to express themselves orally, in writing, and so forth. This one's lost. Okay, here you see very much how the interactions have. So on the top, it's the individual study that takes precedent. That's where we start off. Then there is interaction with the tutor, so questions can be asked. The tutor will respond to elements that the course participant presents and so forth. At the bottom, then it's the phase of articulating positions and ideas. And then there is the synthesis on the left, where everybody interacts with each other. And at the center, what you have is, of course, the course lead, who at all times will interact with. And one person is the course lead, but the members of the team, some members also are also supporting the course, so there will be input from different specializations too. Yes, please. So this is then essentially the summary, which you can read at your ease, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jean-Pascal, for the overview of the course. We'll take questions towards the end of the event, but for now, I would like to give the floor to Lupsho to explain a bit more about the modules on the diplomatic process and the science and technology review mechanism, which will include a simulation exercise. Lupsho, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sonia, and glad to be a part of this team. Really proud to be a part of it. I think that we have a very good combination of insights into the BWC to be able to convey to the people who come to participate and ultimately become UNIDIR BWC fellows. Some of you may be from bigger countries, some from smaller countries. I remember the situation of coming to Geneva and having to cover in one morning or afternoon human rights, and then disarmament, and then look into the BWC, perhaps something is going on, then go into, meetings on migration or refugees, World Health Organizations, sometimes WTO as well. The point is that a lot of diplomats come into Geneva and are faced specifically for this purpose with a very complex picture of what this BWC is, biological weapons. Or if you look at it, if you haven't been in a way face-to-face with the convention itself, and all of a sudden you see biological weapons, it can become scary in and of itself. And then you come to the meetings, and the meetings have their own rhythm, their own way of discussing certain issues. This issue is discussed in this way, that issue is discussed in that way. It is hard to make sense what is what. The point of this course is not to make sense for anybody. The point of this course is to be able to provide the tools to look at it in a way that becomes easier to make sense of it. Because of that, we've devised it both in terms of the agenda of what is the current agenda of discussion, and that is the agenda of the working group. Therefore, you can notice even the titles are that, and it is the aim that when this work of the working group finishes, ultimately we will have some specific tangible results that come out of that. So participants from this should be able to, the fellows, should be able to understand what the outcomes are and to take active participation right after that. We have participants who are diplomats, but we also have participants who come from a military background, some with a medical background, some scientists. Ultimately, it is truly the hope of the speaker here that there will be a science and technology review mechanism, advisory mechanism, whatever it is, however it is called. If that is the case, then we will need expertise of how to participate actively in such a mechanism. We will need to have a conversation between diplomats and scientists, and maybe other areas as well. These are skills that can be taught and learned, and it is the aim, really, among other things, to be able to convey these kinds of skills so that there is truly a meaningful engagement within this process. So one of the modules that started things off with would be on the diplomatic process. We go over the convention. The convention is a peculiar one. It doesn't have, as we all know, an organization for the prohibition of biological weapons or anything like that. It doesn't have a structure or a regime that supports it. it goes on because it keeps on going on. A review conference then calls on the next review conference and calls on an intersessional process that what will be done between review conferences. So in a way, it gives energy to itself to keep on going on. That needs to be understood, what exactly it means, how it functions, what is the function of a review conference, how it functions, how did the meetings of states parties come about, what is their role, how have we come to this point where we are, of a working group, what exactly is possible, how could it go on from here. And again, tools to be able to understand this properly, not to be able to think in this way or that way. Similarly, when we get to the module on science and technology, it's one thing to think about the advancements in biology, in the life sciences, which are incredible. Anyone who has been following what really has been going on in the life sciences over the past few years will easily come to the conclusion that the biggest advancements really maybe said are happening within the life sciences. Even AI, even all of these other things that have had such hype, the implementation of machine learning and artificial intelligence in the life sciences is one of the most amazing, but also perhaps concerning areas to look at. So we need to look at that properly. We need to be able to understand it properly. We need to understand how the life sciences can be used for good, but also can be used for not so good. And to be able to, especially the international area, to be able to understand how to encourage beneficial aspects and how to be able to frame and bound the harmful ones. And that is the aim of the science and technology module, which will in itself as well have a way of simulating how the body as it is conceived right now might function. It is conceived to have an open-ended body and a limited sized body. So we will try to be able to simulate that as well, as has been done. I participate in such a simulation. And it's a successful one to be able to bring in different expertise, scientists from different areas, and to be able to discuss a complex issue and come out with certain conclusions about it. So the simulation will be a part of the module that is on science and technology within the open-ended part. And then in the in-person part that happens in Geneva, we will have the second part, which is the more limited size portion. So with that, let me conclude. I'm really proud to be a part of this course and really gratitude to both the funders and as well to UNIDIR for bringing this together, for putting this amazing course into action. I know that it fills the gap because I've seen it. It's a matter right now, it's a pilot course, and the aim is for it to become an annual course. And we do hope that you will have been convinced by what we've said right now, so that it comes to the people that it needs to come to the experts, CBR and experts in capitals, people who really would benefit from this. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Lupcio, and indeed, we very much hope that we triggered your interest and that we convinced you to apply for this course. So without further ado, I will give the floor to Maria to explain the application and recruitment process for this program. Maria, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sonia. Indeed, at UNIDIR, we are very glad to be able to put together and deliver this pilot course this year. And also we hope we can deliver future iterations annually. So as we mentioned before, the course is limited to a maximum of 25 participants who will become UNIDIR BWC fellows under the UNIDIR Academy umbrella. Because there is limited space, we hope to have a lot of applications from all of you. We will have to go through a selection process. So how can your states parties apply? Next slide, please. So in the coming weeks, UNIDIR will send out to the missions a letter inviting BWC states parties to nominate up to 2 experts for the course. These can be government officials in capital, aspiring and active diplomats. They can be life scientists, all of which should have responsibilities relevant to the BWC process, mainly as JP already discussed. We will also consider experts coming from universities or NGOs, but their participation depends on the available slots, as the project will prioritize nominated experts from states parties. So once the states party or the institution has identified their nominee or nominees, they can submit the application to UNIDIR through the designated email, which you can see in the slide. This is the email from the WMD program. So how do we apply? Next slide. Okay. So applications should be submitted by the mission or the national contact point to us through email, as I mentioned, and should include the nomination from the state party or the institution, including the authorization to take the course, to take part on the live sessions that will take place, and to travel to Geneva. It should also include a CV, a short CV of 1 or 2 pages with the contact details from the nominee. And also we will be asking for a personal motivation statement of about 500 words, 1 page, in which we will ask nominees to respond a series of questions that we pose, such as what in your CV makes you an ideal candidate, or what knowledge, skills, or experience can you contribute to the course, to the experience? What issue areas of the BWC are of particular interest to you, or how you will apply or socialize the knowledge that you gain in the course in your day-to-day activities. So next slide, please. Regarding the selection process, the team will put together a selection panel comprised of the course leaders of the 3 institutions that take forward this project. And we will assess submissions based on 4 main criteria. First, of course, applicants should meet the basic criteria for selection. This is be within the target audience of the course, have a working knowledge of English, and other things we already discussed. The second is their qualification and interests, so based on the merit of their application. Third, an equitable geographical representation. And fourth, gender balance. So, next slide, please. More or less, this is an indicative timeline. The call for applications will be open from now until the 29th of September. The selection will be done on the first week of October, with a view that participants start the course in the self-paced module that JP mentioned right away after selection. However, yeah, they need to be aware that they will need to start the course right away. So I think with that, I'm done. Of course, happy to answer any further questions that you have, but stay tuned for the letter of invitation with more details, and do reach out to us if you have any questions after this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria, and thanks to all my colleagues. We certainly look forward to receiving a great number of applications. But in the meantime, or if you're still doubting whether to apply or not, we're happy to take any questions you may have. We have some time for questions. If I may, I can ask you to please state your affiliation or raise your country tag. That would be very helpful. And yes, please, we may also take questions from our participants online. So Clarisse and Maria, please feel free to share any questions we may have from colleagues online. Yes?
Or just raise your hand. Big country.
The UK.
Yeah, the UK is.
Yes, I see one common question from the UK, please.
Thanks. Just a few words from us as funder of this project. We're really, really happy to support this project, and thank you so much for that comprehensive explanation for prospective participants of what they can expect throughout the course. This project aligns with a very deeply held view that the UK has, which is that the BWC belongs to all of its state parties. And so a project like yours, which is seeking to empower through enhancing knowledge and skills and expertise and to build community is something which aligns very deeply with us, and we're very favourably viewing it. So we're looking forward to working with you and supporting you as sponsor. And we certainly hope that those of you in the room and online and those who received the letter who unfortunately couldn't be here today will submit their applications and enjoy the experience that you will be offering them. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. And once again, we are very grateful for the support of the UK to make this education program possible. Any other questions from the room? Yes, please.
I thank to UNIDIR for a very interesting course, and I would like to thank all speakers about the good and informative presentations. I have two questions. The first is that will the education material introduced in each module will be identical to all participants, including diplomats and scientists, or they will be different, specialized, and depending to their course, to their area of activities? And the second is that how this course makes the balance between the views of the state parties in the conference, how this course will reflect the ideas, and in such a given situation in which there are different views regarding the solution of provision of the convention, how will we do it? Thank you.
Thank you very much for those questions. Perhaps for the first one, I will give the floor to Jean-Pascal. So will the education material be the same for every participant?
Thank you for your questions. Yes, everybody will receive the same modules, the same types of content. So just to be very brief in terms to give you a more concrete idea of the setup, when the module starts, there will be a basic text available that gives an overview of a variety of issues. The course participant has to familiarize themselves with these contents and will be requested to comment on them. They have to annotate that document. Course participants can also comment and annotate the comments of other people. So that brings us already in the area of your second question, in the sense that there is going to be a plurality of opinions and so on. So the course will not promote or dictate a particular solution. The course will be in certain ways provocative to stimulate thinking, but each participant responds to it, and we will guide the people in improving the quality of the response. We're not going to guide the people in terms of the specific contents of the response there. And before giving the microphone back, there is perhaps one element that we should add. In this course, the pilot project that will run until February, the written documents and preparations, the videos that will accompany it, will be translated into French. So the language of the interaction is English, but there will be already available in French, and it is the ambition over the next years to have everything, the basic materials, available in the 6 UN languages. I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Maria wanted to add something.
I think it's on now. It takes a moment. No, I just wanted to take the floor to briefly echo what you said, because I think it's a very important point. It is very important for us at UNIDIR to be sure that all of our outputs reflect all of the perspectives of states parties and perhaps other stakeholders, and ensure that they are all on the table in all our outputs. So I just wanted to highlight that.
I guess it was a misunderstanding. I personally, I have not any concern, but my question was that will the participant will be familiar with different idea or not? Thank you.
Thank you very much for clarifying. I'll give the floor to Lupsho.
To answer whether there will be a different perspective assumes that there is a perspective to start with, and there isn't other than an objective one. That will be our aim, both in terms of an institution, as UNIDIR is, both of us, all of us as professionals who come in with personal integrity to make sure that we align with the goals of the UN and of what we're working on. And that ensures that everybody's voice is heard. The topics that we will be discussing, obviously, are topics that have some aspect, which is a fact. The letters of the convention is a fact. Some interpretation of this article or that is an interpretation, but the letter is that. So wherever there is possible to have that objectivity, the objectivity will be stressed. When there is different ways of understanding it, we will try to make sure to provide all views that are there, not one view or another view, all views. And I think that that's easy to do. We have 50 years now of accumulated material, of country positions, of speeches, of working papers. They're there. So I think that that's already something that is going to be a part of the curriculum, because it is easy to get the working papers of any state party and to see exactly what is the view of this state party on this issue. And that's even best, for instance, if there is a participant from one state party to be able to look at the views of another state party, to be put into a context, to view that, to defend the positions, which we will do. So these are the positions, defend these positions, even if they're not your own, puts you into a different perspective. So I think that we can all stand firmly behind a position that the course will be presented in the most objective way possible, and that all views will be available, including with the interaction of the participants within it, who can challenge each other on all of those positions.
Yes, Marie.
Something on top of what my colleague said, and is that by having one document and other commenting, you have the different views. And views means not only country perspective, but according to the background of the person. If you are a lawyer or a scientist or a diplomat, depending on who you are, you will be contributed to that situation, to that participated in the workshops, contributing with your own ideas. And that is very important too, because that increases the dialogue and improves the communication among the different communities that are relevant for the BWC.
Yeah, and that's also one of really the key aspects is for the course to facilitate discussions, exchange of views, interaction. And Jean-Pascal referred to static modules, but I think we very much value and emphasize the interactive part of the course, so we can all exchange and discuss those issues. I think we have time for one more questions over there.
Hello, Richard Guthrie. roving reporter, I guess is the easiest description. No, it's just a follow-up from what our Iranian colleague had said. In fact, part of it's just been answered by Maria, because I interpreted his question as, in part, as things like you do have these different backgrounds of somebody who's already a diplomat, somebody who's already a biologist or whatever else. And actually, in training courses I've been involved with in the past, that utility of everybody seeing the same materials is really good, because if you have confidence that the materials describing diplomatic processes, because that's the bit you're familiar with, is accurate, then you are more trusting of the bits that talk about the science that you haven't previously understood. And so it's quite useful to have the same material going to everybody, because, okay, it might not teach you some things because that's the bit you already know, but it tells you that the course is good because you can see that it's telling you the bits you already know in a good way. Thank you.
Yes, Jean-Pascal, you wanted to quickly follow up on this?
Thank you, Richard. Just one thing I would like to emphasize. It's not a training course, it's an educational course. It's quite different. It's not trying to get certain skills enhanced repetitively. It is really to improve the knowledge, the capability of expressing oneself on particular topics, because there is a solid understanding of the issues there. So we, as module leads and the people who will assist in the modules, it's always the same team working together in different configurations. We stimulate the thinking, we stimulate the interaction. That's the core of this particular thing. And using the new technologies and new educational strategies, so much will be online with, quite a specialized online webpage where all the modules are available, all the tools are available, chat interactions among the students with the module leads and so on. But at no point we are telling the people, this is the way you have to do it. They have to develop themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. I see one comment or question from Samoa.
Thank you so much. I have two short questions. Sorry, on the outset, thank you so much again for the presentation. We're very supportive of disarmament education in general. My first question relates to the self-paced learning modules. If there's a prerequisite they need to complete in order to advance to the intensive training, I guess, in Geneva, if it's 80% or 100% completion rate. And my second question relates to, to the research assignments. I recall that working papers were mentioned, but I also wondered if the research assignments include project proposals or implementation that could help pave the way for concrete actions or implementation of the convention. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those questions. Jean-Pascal, you want to address them?
Yes. So, I didn't fully understand your first question. I picked up something like the self-paced module and completion, but in between I lost something.
If it's a prerequisite to then come to.
If we understood correctly, is it a prerequisite to complete the static modules before doing the in-person?
Because due to conflicting priorities or other reasons, like a participant may not be fully involved in the learning modules the entire time, if they needs to be completed 100%, or is there 80%, I guess, achievement?
So first, the zero module, the static module, that we have started calling it. This is introductory to it. So it's self-paced because the course participant can do it at their own pace, really. However, it's also important because it will give the course participant the opportunity to familiarize themselves with the infrastructure of the web page, the different modalities for interacting and so forth. So in that sense, it's important, and also it gives all the basics about the convention and you know, the whole process we're talking. In terms of the second aspect to you, as already indicated by other speakers and emphasized by Maria, we do have an expectation that the people complete the course. You know, the whole setup is quite expensive, particularly if they are going to come to Geneva too. So there has to be a commitment, and there will be, as you will note in the application form, there will be a condition to check to say that the person will make the time available to participate in it. And that, if the person cannot check that, that may be, you know, a disqualifying condition. Having said that, we also foresee that not everybody can be available at all times. So all the materials, recordings from meetings and so on, will be available within the module on the internet, so the person can always catch up with certain things. But if, for example, we have the webinar, which is designed to be interactive with experts, say that the person cannot attend that particular session for whatever reason, then there is the alternative that the person records own video, a short video with comments on that particular section, and that will then be taken into account when assessing the participation of the individual. So we are also foreseeing alternatives just in case that people cannot be available. If people are ill or are absent because they have to go on a mission, then they will have the opportunity to notify us in advance, and then we will discuss options so that the person can still fulfill the conditions of the module.
Yeah, thank you. I think there is indeed we appreciate the time commitment for the course, but there is flexibility in how you complete the course, save for the in-person segment, of course, and some of the lectures, but there is a lot of flexibility thanks to the online platform that will be made available. Lupsho wanted to say a few words?
Perhaps including ones from my side at least, but I would echo what basically has been said about the commitment. I think that really if somebody applies to take this course, there should be a commitment to do the course fully. The course it requires a lot of resources to be organized of all kinds, both in terms of fund, both in terms of the human capital involved, both in terms of the time. At the end, whoever finishes successfully will be able to call themselves in front of others as a UNIDIR BWC fellow. They should earn that. And I think that that anybody who finishes that, they will acquire advanced skills. This is a course about advanced knowledge of the BWC. The zero module, that's why it's set in such a way to provide a platform, the initial knowledge, because once we start with the other modules, you should have a basic knowledge of what the BWC is. So advanced knowledge and advanced ability to interpret what the BWC is. We will also have a community that comes out, not just out of this, but hopefully we will have fellows in the future who finish this course after this pilot course finishes, and that community should be able to communicate with each other and build the knowledge further. One of the outcomes as well is that we will train an AI chatbot. And I think that this is where it becomes as well important that it's not just one view. With the UN documents, we have that privilege of having the same document be in English, in French, in Arabic, in all the UN languages. And that already provides an objective look at certain documents, because then the AI can easily interpret how that has been done. Other languages, Farsi, all others, then they can be a part of that building up of the knowledge base that is the artificial intelligence aspect of it, the chatbot of it. So our aim is really not just participants who walk out and know something, but also a community walks out, and also tools that then can be used by others who have not even taken the course, but can be used by the broader global community. So I'm really, again, proud to be a part of this. Thank you.
Very quickly, Maria, if you want to. Yeah.
Don't be scared, because it looks overwhelming. All these module 0, 2 weeks, running from one module to the other, coming to Geneva. It looks like a lot with all the information, but with the platform and with the expert, what we are working is trying to make it friendly and agile, so you can keep it ongoing. And this flexibility is to adapt to all the participants, the content, so it is possible to finish it in the fastest and easiest, funniest, and all the adjectives that you want to add at the end.
Thanks. Before we wrap up, not only because it's getting extremely hot in this room, we wanted to acknowledge the participation of our online colleagues. And I think there was one very practical question. Maria, if you wanted to address it.
Thank you, Sonia. There is one question that asks about if there is a limited age for participants to be selected. No, there is no criteria on age. I think that around the BWC, there are some programs that are focused on youth. We have UNIDIR, Youth for Bio, that have been around, the NTI or LB Fellows, other things. Our course wants to focus on diplomats and experts that work on BWC issues and give them the tools and knowledge and expertise to work around the issues of the BWC working group, but that is the criteria. There is no age limitation. So that's the answer.
I'm still one of the lecturers.
Thank you. So again, we hope we raise your interest, and we very much look forward to receiving a number of applications. If you have any additional questions that come to mind, feel free to find us until we're around until the end of the week. You can also email us, and we look forward to exchanging with you. Before we close, I would like to encourage all of you to fill in the feedback form that should be available on the table in the entrance, or there's a QR code that you can scan. This is very helpful for UNIDIR to improve the quality of events. And speaking of events, I would also like to invite everyone on behalf of UNIDIR to the next side event that will be held on Friday at lunchtime in this room, and that will focus on national implementation. And I believe it will also be an online event. So for those online, feel free to join us on Friday. Thank you very much to the speakers. Thank you very much to all of you for attending, and thank you to all who made this event possible, including our colleague Clarice, who's here. Thank you very much. I wish everyone who's in this room a good, successful meeting in Geneva. And to all of you online, I wish you a nice end of the day or a nice evening. And again, thank you very much for coming and attending today. Thanks.